palace is not doing anything. And I'm so pleased about this because I know William is absolutely furious, livid with his brother for behaving so badly and revealing their privacy and absolutely having no care about how he spoke about them and King Charles, of course. And so they decided they're not going to apologise, and I think that's absolutely right. If anybody wants to apologise, he should apologise. We don't know specifically what the apology is. It's just, in general, an apology, and certainly about Meghan.
I would have thought it would be the King and Prince William who should be getting an apology from Harry.
Yes, but that's not the case.
By the way, Margaret, one of our viewers, has emailed in as well, and she said, what's Harry wanting an apology? It should be him, so our viewers are thinking the same thing.
Yes, absolutely. But apparently he's even more annoyed because the lady Ngozi, what's her name? Oh, God. Yes, Lady Hussey, upset by asking questions. There was an apology to her. So he feels that because she had one, he should have one. But that's nonsense, because one thing has got nothing to do with the other. But one of their aides has said, which I think is hilarious as well as ridiculous, that they can't decide whether they're coming or not because they haven't had an invitation and they can't work out their itinerary until they get an invitation. Well, I can tell them it's going to be at 11 a.m. on May the 6th. So that's all they need to know, isn't it? I mean,
I want to know
nonsense.
What would they do with the apology? Do they gather things so that it's for the next Netflix, for the next newspaper interview?
Well, it's humiliating. I think it's to humiliate his family because he feels that he's not been in charge, and he's now become a sort of bully the last few years, and he wants to be in charge. Well, he said he wants to fix how the royal family are working. So, you know, it's delusional. And
I thought this was his way of basically of his excuse for not coming to the coronation. So he's saying, I will come to the coronation, but only if I get an apology, knowing he's not going to get an apology, so he can therefore say, well, it's not my fault.
I think he's split down the middle. I mean, Meghan obviously doesn't want to come. I hope she doesn't. He still has the residue of love for his father, which he won't really admit, but he won't let go. I mean, if I didn't like my family, they wouldn't see me. I wouldn't be away. But he's torn. He obviously doesn't like it in America. He'd like to be back, but he can't be because he's, you know, stuck with his wife and children there. I think it's very difficult for him to make a decision.
And moving on to King Charles, he was quite outspoken, talked plainly about Ukraine this week.
Yes, that's right. I mean, unlike his mother, the late Queen Elizabeth, who said when the Ukraine war began with Russia, that they've had a very difficult time. But King Charles has said, you know, they haven't asked for anything, there's no reason for this, and they've been attacked in the most horrendous way, and people have had the most terrible life while they're doing it. People have blamed him for getting involved in politics, but I don't think so. I think he's right. I mean, the Queen was 25 when she took the throne, so she stepped back with all her comments, but he's in his 70s, so he's a man who's had lots of experience, who's been the heir to the throne for a long time, and I think he's jolly well right to be able to say what he thinks about this atrocious war.
And finally, front page of the Daily Express there in front of you, Angela. We were just talking about it before. Good on Camilla, isn't it? I mean, I'm a big fan of Camilla's.
So am I, of course.
And her intervention about the Roald Dahl book seems to have... It's gone down well with me, and it also seems to have made a difference, because the publishers now are publishing it as it was.
Yes, it was the second anniversary of her book club, and she has around her lots of authors and so on, and she makes a quick speech, and this was her speech, that she thought that people shouldn't be taken away from their imagination. The whole point about reading is to enjoy it and to imagine things.